Looking back at things achieved and even our failures can prove critical when charting new paths. In today's show, we step back into 2021 to review the achievements of the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. We also have some advice from the National Parenting Support Commission, plus the news of the day and much more. I'm Adrian Atkinson. You're watching Jamaica Magazine.
Concerned about uncollected garbage at home? Do you see garbage piling up on the streets? Then report it. Use the National Solid Waste Management Authority's mobile app to report instances of littering, illegal dumping, and uncollected garbage. From anywhere and at any time, be an environment warden by informing the authority of unsightly solid waste. You will be notified when your report has been received by the NSWMA, as well as when the matter is resolved. Download the app from the iOS or Android app stores by typing in NSWMA. Play your part, as Jamaica's beauty is everybody's duty. Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez, and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, January 4. With 85% of all homicides in Jamaica committed using an illegal firearm, Prime Minister Andrew Holness says a new firearms bill will be brought to Parliament early this year. Mr. Holness says the bill will ensure that the highest possible consequence and deterrence are provided for the acquisition, dealing, possession or use of an illegal firearm.
Possessing an illegal weapon increases the means and likelihood of the possessor escalating to committing murder or other serious crimes. All Jamaicans should speak with one voice against the illegal possession of firearms.
Mr. Holness was addressing the nation during his New Year's Day message. He says government will also be expanding the use of zones of special operation to control crime and homicides in selected communities.
The Enhanced Security Measures Bill is being refined and should be brought to Parliament in the next financial year. This will further augment the crime-fighting powers of the police. In the interim, the JDF and the JCF will continue to deploy strategically as best as possible with its resources in static and dynamic operations to secure affected communities.
Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says the Bellevue Hospital will be transformed to offer better care and help remove the stigma from mental health treatment. He was speaking recently at an appreciation ceremony for clients at the Windward Road Kingston facility.
We are going to transform this institution in an institution that we all as a society should be proud of. That because the symbolism around this institution mustn't be that we must avoid it. It must be a source of pride that we have taken time to provide the support that is a majority requirement for so many people in the country. So it means reforming this institution, looking at the compound, looking at the surroundings, looking at community-based support and treatment.
Pointing out that mental challenges affect more persons than is widely known, Dr. Tufton says too many people suffer in silence because they're ashamed to get treatment for fear of stigmatization. Declaring that the negative thinking around mental health must be broken, he says the team at his ministry will be leading the charge to mainstream the importance of mental illness support.
One of the things that we are going to have to do, and we have started to do, and this is grounded in research, the Mental Health and Homelessness Task Force report, which was done back in 2016 and now has a program that we're working on, is to mainstream and destigmatize, mash down the impressions around mental health as if somehow it is a curse only to be identified with some people.
Meanwhile, Jamaicans experiencing trauma associated with the loss of loved ones due to COVID-19, violence or traffic crashes, among other factors, are being urged to get professional help with the grieving process. Consultant psychiatrist Dr. Jeffrey Walcott made the appeal on JIS's current affairs program, Get the Facts. He says while the process has no specific timeline, if grieving begins to impact one's day-to-day function or inability to carry out their responsibilities, this would be the sign to get help.
In essence, the process should not be impacting your functionality for greater than probably a 2 or 3 week period. And if it continues to impact your functionality beyond that point, you need assistance to maneuver the channels of grieving that you're going through and to actually help you.
Persons who are going through grief or any form of mental health issues can access care at any public or private health facilities. These include hospitals, health centers, doctors' offices, or the Ministry of Health and Wellness's mental health hotline. The number is 888-NEW-LIFE. That is 888-639-5433.
The concept of getting mental health help is not something that you would think of having to do with a hospital or a hospital bed, but it can be done anywhere. And so we have to move our thoughts out of that restrictive setting and then move our thoughts out of what we think it is. It is not something that is forced on you. It is something that is done to help you based on what your needs are, and we work with you.
In other news, the Mines and Geology Division will soon have access to a mineral X-ray and poke and dish grinder machine to assist with grinding earth minerals. The equipment is a donation of Geophysics Jamaica Limited, which is licensed by the Mining Ministry and the National Environment and Planning Agency NEPA to explore copper, zinc, gold and other minerals. Speaking recently at a geophysics press conference, Mining Minister Robert Montague said acquiring the equipment was necessary because of the nation's strong emerging semi-precious stone jewelry-making industry.
So those equipment is a little bit over $50,000 in value. That they are currently in Florida, and the ministry will have to make some arrangement to get them here.
The Mines and Geology Division has the responsibility under the Mining Act and the Quarries Control Act to supervise all mining and quarrying operations throughout the island. And finally, Transport Minister Robert Montague says a drive is on to get more Jamaicans trained locally for the airline industry, particularly pilots. Minister Montague says approximately 3,000 Jamaicans are in the United States doing pilot training, and he hopes to increase the number of pilots being trained on the island. He was speaking recently on a tour of the Tinson-Pen-based Aeronautical School of the West Indies.
When you look at the comparative cost, it's a lot cheaper to be trained in Jamaica. You start at an earlier age, and Jamaica has the reputation of producing world-class pilots.
The minister says the Aeronautical School of the West Indies was recently certified by the Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority, and 2 other institutions are going through the process of certification to increase the local training capacity. He adds that the Airports Authority of Jamaica AAJ will be offering scholarships this year to persons living close to aerodromes to further expand the nation's aviation industry. And that's it for JI's News Today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.
It's absolutely critical that we receive the vaccines. You will see hospitalizations and indeed deaths likely come down. And so there is a lot of value to be gained by getting as many vulnerables on board as possible. So tell your mothers, tell your aunts, listen out for yourselves if you're over 60, and take the vax, because the vax is what will help you to guard against the COVID virus and indeed help your relatives, your friends, those who you come in contact with for the same benefit.
Supporting small businesses and infrastructure development were at the top of the agenda for the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation in 2021. We now review the ministry's achievements from the year.
Remain committed to the task of taking this country and its people towards a future of sustainable structural innovation, engineering creation, and investment opportunity.
The Andrew Holness administration will make necessary transformations in order to build back stronger.
The Development Bank of Jamaica DBJ was the base of the country's economic recovery efforts, spending $1.19 billion in support to micro, small and medium-sized enterprises (MSMEs). The bank also issued $3 billion in loan and grant funding under the SERVE program. Over at the Jamaica Special Economic Zone, $1.3 billion in investment projects got underway. Phase 1 of the Garmex Free Zone Redevelopment Initiative was completed with the construction of 4 buildings to house manufacturing activities. Employment in the business process outsourcing sector grew by 15% during the second quarter of the year, and up to June 30, the sector brought in $780 million.
What all of this is saying is that confidence in the economy is recovering, and events like this help to bolster confidence in the economy.
Bolstering the economic recovery continued with the build-out of the island's road network. A $274.5 million contract was signed for the long-awaited Montego Bay Perimeter Road project.
I'm particularly proud of the fact that Jamaica's fiscal situation is such that we do not need to borrow to implement the project.
$133.9 million was disbursed to complete works on the Harborview to Port Antonio leg of the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project. The rain-damaged Gordontown roadway in St. Andrew was completed in time and under budget. And the ministry launched a routine road maintenance program. In the year, the National Works Agency and the National Water Commission deepened their collaboration by dovetailing their work.
We are in the process of fixing NWC to be fit for the purpose that Jamaicans need it to be.
The NWC named an enterprise team to streamline operations. $7.5 billion was spent on major infrastructure development projects. The Commission continued its non-revenue water projects in the Kingston metropolitan area and Portmore, and increased water supply from the Rio Cobre water treatment plant. The Port Authority of Jamaica built out the Port Royal Cruise Terminal and commissioned its utility vessel, the Jamaica 3.
We are building towards a future of sustainability.
The draft management and zoning plan was completed for the Black River Protected Area. So too was a $38 million new Negril Master Plan. $101 million was issued for pre-hurricane mitigation. And each member of parliament got $16 million to execute flood mitigation works in their constituencies.
Titles are what the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation are about in terms of monetizing this relatively non-income producing asset that we call land in our country.
The National Land Agency delivered 10,000 titles in the year. Driving this was a $60 million electronic titling project, which digitized existing titles, introduced an online adjudication system and digital cadastral mapping. The Greater Bernard Lodge development plan continued apace. And the $1.3 billion Harmony Beach Park was opened in the second city.
Harmony Beach Park represents the future of urban development in Jamaica.
Recovering stronger together was the mantra of the government in 2021, and the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation stayed true to that goal.
There is no doubt in my mind that this ministry is central to all that we as a government wants to and intend to accomplish for Jamaica and its people through growth and development.
What a way you're full of our roots and culture. That was in Jamaica 60. Jamaica 60? What a piece of news, Miss Matty. I feel like my heart going bust up.
Just in, the island of Jamaica is on the verge of celebrating its 60th year of independence.
I only way of celebrating it. They say the people them come here, you know. But you see, when our people decide, say the other people them free paper, burn them say if it's war, start it, whatever. We all collect medal pants of it, you know.
Medal.
Amount of thump, we give them a thump.
These celebrations are slated to begin on January 1st, 2022. Organized by the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. We have more in this report.
I am on site and planning activities are ablaze. Persons are advised to download the Reggae Jamaica app to know what it activities for the Jamaica 60 celebration.
I don't know the app to get the updates then.
During the pandemic, with children staying home, parenting skills have been put to the test. Most parents are doing the best with what they have and what they know. But there is always room for improvement. We have some tips on strengthening parenting skills next.
Wouldn't it be great if children came into the world so well adjusted or with manuals, therefore eliminating the need for parental discipline? This is not the case, however. Parents usually apply their methods or they depend on strategies taught throughout generations to guide their children.
8 in 10 Jamaican children in the 2 to 14 years age group experience violence as a form of discipline.
Coercive parenting involves the physical administration of pain as punishment. It also includes the use of harsh language that has the potential to hurt children's feelings and affect their general self-esteem and development. It also fosters aggression because what you're really teaching children is that when there is an issue, we must resolve the issue through harshness, through aggression, through coarse language. There's a direct correlation between coercive parenting and the aggression that we see actually in society.
Damaging disciplinary practices have moved outside of the home and into the national consciousness.
The time has come for the Parliament to have a debate on this issue and finally declare corporal punishment at an end, both within public institutions and as a means of discipline available to parents. I think it would be a forward-leaning step in making a stance against violence generally, and it would send a powerful message about the state respecting the inviolability of the person, whether or not that person is a child or an adult.
Children need guidance, and many wonder if not with the rod, then how? Enter the National Parenting Support Commission (NPSC), an agency of the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. The ministry established the commission in 2012 to provide parents with the requisite skills and tools to raise children.
We work at 3 tiers. We work at home, school and community. Our first and most important priority, however, is to ensure that we're fostering the home-school relationship. We must ensure that parents as key stakeholders feel involved in the entire process of educating their children.
Now, to do this, the Commission assists parents in several ways, including providing psychosocial support, assisting parents with understanding the teaching-learning process, and conducting parenting education programs.
Through our effective parenting courses, we push proactive strategies. In other words, you are going to put structures in place before behaviors that you don't desire actually show.
Parents and guardians should consider the child's developmental stage when determining the best method of guidance.
A child who is very young, we encourage play. The child must be playing, and even the teaching learning processes must include play, because this is how they develop their imagination, their creative skills. This is how they also learn to resolve issues and to problem solve.
Young children, especially infants, are at the stage where they don't know right from wrong, and they can be impulsive. They may touch items that are valuable or dangerous. Usually, it is best to remove the child or the object from such a situation.
We don't believe you're to spank any at all, because that's a part of coercive parenting, and we don't believe that coercive parenting works. So what we encourage you to do, though, is to be firm and to be consistent. So if it means you have to say, do this instead, or do not go there a million times, then that's what you have to be prepared to do.
The teenage years can challenge both children and parents. With the physical and chemical changes happening in the body, teens may act out as they may be unsure of their place in the world.
This can be a very difficult time to navigate. So we ask that you start relaxing some of the very stringent rules, and you also have conversations and you compromise.
And to address challenges, caregivers can remove privileges.
If the child becomes stubborn, has a fixed mindset, if you will, that this is what he or she is going to continue to do, then you might need professional help. You might need to call the commission, or you might need to call a social worker or a guidance counselor to help.
Being a proactive parent means setting clear boundaries, letting children know what is acceptable behaviors and why rules are in place. And don't forget to model behaviors you want young ones to display. There may not be a one-size-fits-all for raising children. By assessing the right information and using effective parenting techniques, we can nurture adults willing to play their part in making Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. To tap into information from the National Parenting Support Commission, call 876-967-7977 or visit their offices at 37 Arnold Road, Kingston 6.
What do you need to know about masks for your children? You want to ensure that the mask fits your child snugly, as in it covers their nose, their mouth, and it fits neatly at the side of their face, no gaps. You want to get your children some washable, breathable mask made of fabric. You want to ensure that they carry an extra mask with them, because once that mask gets dirty or wet, they will need to change the mask. When they get home, you want to ensure that those masks are washed and ready for the next day or the other day to come. Also, remind them that they need to wash their hands when they're putting on the mask and when they're taking off the mask. And as much as possible, they should avoid putting their hands at the center of their mask. If it is that they have to make any adjustment to their mask during the day, it's important that they either wash their hands or use their hand sanitizer. Mask wearing is a new normal. Let's get it right.
The safety of the nation's children is the responsibility of all Jamaicans. Government has made it easier for anyone to report child abuse with the establishment of a 211 helpline. Watch this.
One of the biggest threats, and I speak in the context of being an MP who has 3 children's home and has personal experience, one of the biggest threats to Jamaica today is child abuse. The good thing is that we are on our way to improving it.
And the latest improvement is happening in the form of a helpline, one that's free, accessible 24 hours daily, and is easy to remember. The 211 helpline to report child abuse is now in effect. The Child Protection and Family Services Agency CPFSA has renewed its efforts to have a 3-digit telephone number to replace the existing 10-digit line 888-PROTECT, assigned to the National Children's Registry, the NCR. The NCR operates as the main point of contact for persons making reports of child abuse, neglect, and missing children. It also handles reports of child trafficking, which is handled by the National Task Force Against Trafficking in Persons, NATFATIP. But why was it so important for this renewed call to take effect, and why now?
We have always thought it would be easier if we have a 3-digit number that children could easily remember. Now, in 2020, when we were all affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, we saw a significant reduction in the number of reports coming in. We did not believe that it was a case where children are not being abused, because most abuse takes place in the homes. So we wanted to reach out to children. At that time, we were pushing our WhatsApp line. We were saying to children, if you feel unsafe, if you feel at risk, you can reach out to us on WhatsApp, because WhatsApp is free. And of course, we're encouraging persons to call our 888-PROTECT number. But you'd appreciate that 888-PROTECT is not so easy to remember, especially for young children. The time was right for us to launch a three-digit line that would be easy for children to remember, easy for everybody to remember.
Still, the 888-PROTECT helpline has been in effect for quite some time now. So, what exactly will this new 211 line mean for its operation?
So the 888-PROTECT number is still in operation. What we actually did was put the 211 onto the 88-PROTECT, if that makes any sense. So if you call either number, they both terminate at the same place. So the calls will come into the same lines. But what we're hoping is that as time progresses, more and more persons will become aware of 211, and we will eventually phase out the 888-PROTECT.
And here's the best part about this new response to child abuse. There are designated officers who are armed with the right toolkit to manage these calls.
We already had a system at the National Children's Registry for manning the 888-PROTECT line. In addition to 888-PROTECT, we had a number of other lines that persons could call. So what we did was just to boost that system to ensure that when the calls come into 211, we would be able to handle them. So we have a set of trained registration officers. They're social workers, who are equipped to handle the calls when they come in. They're trained in how to handle various types of callers. They're trained with skills of assessment, and they would do the necessary referrals to the investigating partners.
These partners are required to initiate an investigation and provide the NCR with an update within 3 months. Furthermore, the NCR's contact center will be expanded to provide immediate psychotherapeutic response for children who may call for help. This is being done under the Public Sector Modernization Program through the ICT Expansion Program currently being rolled out by the Ministry of Finance's Transformation and Implementation Unit, TIU.
Anyone in Jamaica, Madam Speaker, can take up their phone and dial 211. A youth can be a partner in carrying the message to rescue our children.
And we do mean anyone, from any network, at any time.
We actually, met with the telecommunications providers, came to some agreement, and this is how we'll be proceeding in the interest of the nation's children. So the 211 is completely free, regardless of what network you're calling from.
Our nation's children are our priority, and this is being reflected in the CPFSA's targeted programs and services to respond effectively to the needs of vulnerable children and their families. The 211 helpline is just the latest step in the right direction. If you know of or suspect that a child is being abused, reach out to the CPFSA or call 211.
We cared in 2020 and we continue to care in 2021. The government continues to prioritize expenditure to support the delivery of services to Jamaica. That's our goal and our mission as we recover faster and stronger.
Catch the Ministry of Finance 2021 Year in Review on January 5 in Jamaica Magazine, right here on this station.
That's all the time we have for today's show. If you missed anything or want to watch what you saw again, visit our YouTube channel. At the same time too, visit GIS's Facebook, Instagram and Twitter pages for more information. From all of us here at the GIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.